The story starts at a train station where a girl is standing with a suitcase. Meanwhile, Hitoyoshi is sleeping alone in his messy room. Suddenly, the doorbell rings, and Hitoyoshi gets up to answer it. He is surprised to see a beautiful girl outside. The girl introduces herself and says that she is here for a maid job. Hitoyoshi gets surprised to see her. Hitoyoshi brings the maid into his home and apologizes for the mess. He explains that his parents are not at home. He offers the maid some juice, but as he observes her, he starts feeling suspicious. He wonders if she is really here for the maid job or if she has some hidden motive. Trying to test her, Hitoyoshi asks about her previous experience. The maid says that she is skilled in removing threats to her master. Hitoyoshi is confused, realizing she might be talking about assassination. He starts thinking about how to make her leave without making her angry. Hitoyoshi asks the maid who recommended her for the maid job. The maid explains their connection, which is distant and unimportant. To test her skills further, Hitoyoshi asks about her methods. In the garden, the maid suddenly takes out many knives from her body and shows her talent by throwing them with extreme speed. Hitoyoshi is terrified, and the maid casually asks if he is impressed. She explains that she always carries knives to show her skills. Hitoyoshi decides that he cannot keep her as a maid, tells her that he has no enemies and does not even know the person who recommended her. The maid looks disappointed and prepares to leave. As she walks away, Hitoyoshi feels relieved, but soon realizes that she forgot something. The maid, walking away sadly, questions her own expectations. Just then, Hitoyoshi runs after her, calling her name. He holds out a small bell she forgot. As he rushes toward her, a speeding truck approaches. The maid reacts quickly, saving Hideyoshi at the last second. Hideyoshi is frightened and the maid blushes. She admits that she has never saved anyone before and her heart is racing. Hideyoshi is still in shock, hands her the bell and thanks her. She nods and starts to leave again. Hideyoshi feels bad for the maid and stops her. He says he actually needs someone to help clean his house. The maid looks surprised but agrees. Hideyoshi brings her back to his house and she starts explaining her skills again. Hideyoshi interrupts her, clarifying that he only needs her to clean. The maid misunderstands and assumes he wants her to dispose of a body. Hitoyoshi quickly corrects her, saying he just wants the house cleaned with normal housekeeping tools. The maid agrees, but Hitoyoshi soon realizes that she has no idea how to clean properly. After some time, Hitoyoshi feels he is screwed. The maid slips on the wet floor but lands gracefully due to her assassin skills. Hitoyoshi praises her quickness, but the maid looks upset and apologizes. Hitoyoshi gently tells her that she should not do tasks she is not skilled at. He gives her a towel and assures her that he will help her learn. The maid is shocked by his kindness but agrees to learn. Together they clean the living room. Hitoyoshi feels happy and thanks her, which surprises the maid. As evening falls, he realizes he is hungry and asks the maid if she can cook. Hitoyoshi reassures her and says he will prepare something special. While bathing, the maid blushes, thinking about Hitoyoshi. Hitoyoshi nervously wonders if she will come out in a towel. However, she emerges fully dressed, leaving him a little disappointed. Later, Hitoyoshi asks the maid to cut some cabbage. She slices it at an incredible speed with her skills. He then prepares a dish with pork meat, which excites him. However, the maid seems uninterested. She admits that she does not care about food, taste, or appearance. Hitoyoshi explains the importance of good food and how this pork meat is from the best shop in the city. The maid still does not seem impressed and simply asks if they can start eating. As they eat, Hitoyoshi eagerly asks for her opinion. The maid cannot determine if it tastes good or bad, but she finds it warm. She compares this feeling to her past life where everything was cold. Since childhood, she has been trained to be an assassin, leaving her unable to enjoy food or warmth. She doesn't even have a real name, as her master always called her whatever they wanted. Hitoyoshi decides to call her Miss Maid for now. While eating, he notices that the maid is eating simple food. He tells her to try it with sauce. As soon as she does, she suddenly enjoys the taste. Later that night, Hitoyoshi has a bad dream and wakes up hungry. As he goes to the kitchen, he hears strange noises. He is scared, thinking the maid might be attacking someone. Instead, he finds her secretly eating the saw. The maid panics and apologizes, explaining that whenever she thinks she might die soon, she wants to taste the sauce one last time. Hitoyoshi understands her feelings and prepares food for both of them, and they eat together in the garden. After finishing, the maid asks Hitoyoshi if he saw something scary in his dream. She explains that she heard noises from his room and thought an intruder had entered. Hitoyoshi realizes that she must have seen him sleeping. She confirms this and admits that in his sleep, he was repeatedly calling for his mother. Meanwhile, she also had a strange dream where a giant sauce bottle told her she could never finish it. Hitoyoshi finds her dream amusing. The maid then shares that she usually dreams only of killing and violence. She has never felt emotions before, but now everything seems different. Seeing Hitoyoshi suffer from nightmares made her feel bad. Hitoyoshi reassures her, saying he has had bad dreams since childhood. Back then, sleeping in his mother's lap comforted him. The maid surprisingly offers him her lap. Hitoyoshi blushes and hesitates, saying he is now a grown boy. The maid suddenly looks sad, feeling unworthy. Voices from her past tell her that she is nothing more than a killer. However, as Hitoyoshi suddenly lays his head on her lap, he finally relaxes. The maid, surprised, watches over him. They find each other warm. The maid's body feels very hot, her heart beats fast, and she becomes extremely excited. It is the same feeling she gets when she faces a lot of enemies at once. She usually kills all her enemies easily, but this time, something is different. Her body starts moving on its own, and she does not understand why. She is eager to know the reason. The next day, the maid uses her assassin skills to destroy garbage efficiently. She makes the garbage smaller, so that more can fit in less space. Hitoyoshi arrives, and is shocked to see how well the maid manages the garbage. As they take the garbage outside, they notice a puppy left in front of a house. A letter is attached to it. The letter explains that the owner buys the puppy, but now they abandon it in front of a wealthy house, hoping someone else will take care of it. Hitoyoshi is shocked and calls the owner selfish. He approaches the puppy, and the maid asks if he plans to keep it. Hitoyoshi says yes, and worries that it might die if left alone. The maid remembers her past and believes that animals must become strong to survive. If they are weak, they are destined to die. She warns Hitoyoshi that saving the puppy unnecessarily might cause problems, but Hitoyoshi disagrees. He says that saving someone is natural human behavior. He also understands how painful it is to be abandoned. After throwing out the garbage, Hitoyoshi plays with the puppy and finds it cute, but the maid stays far away, looking afraid. Hitoyoshi notices this and asks if she is scared of dogs. The maid nervously denies it, but her reaction tells the truth. Hitoyoshi finds her fear adorable. The maid finally admits that she is left alone in a forest as part of her training when she is younger. The forest is full of wild dogs. Hitoyoshi understands her fear, but tells her she will never bond with this dog if she stays afraid. The maid apologizes for not being able to help, but Hitoyoshi reassures her that it is okay. The maid gathers her courage and tries to hold the puppy, but she is still scared. The puppy playfully bites the maid's finger, making her even more terrified. She nearly throws it away in fear, but Hitoyoshi stops her. Later, the puppy happily plays with Hitoyoshi, while the maid warns him to be careful. Hitoyoshi does not worry and suggests they go shopping. First, they reach an animal hospital for the puppy checkup. After that, they buy many items for the puppy. In the evening, while they are walking home, the puppy is excited about its new leash, and Hitoyoshi thanks the maid for helping. The maid shares she grew up in a place where making mistakes is not allowed. She always has to complete his tasks perfectly, but here, everything is new for her, and she often makes mistakes. In her old world, survival is all that matters, but here, things are different. She wishes she had known earlier that good people exist. She questions whether she truly belongs here. Hitoyoshi is about to respond when the puppy pulls him forward, interrupting him. He realizes that the maid wants to leave her old life behind. This surprises the maid, as she never considers stopping her assassin life before, as it is her entire identity. Hitoyoshi points out the beautiful sunset. The maid looks at it and wonders if she can forget her past and experience a better world. Hitoyoshi confesses that he is afraid of her when they first meet. He explains that he is not used to working with assassins, but she changes his perspective. He tells her that she is actually a good person. The maid remembers her childhood and asks what she must do to become a normal girl. Hitoyoshi tells her that it is okay to make mistakes. Everyone struggles when they try something new. The maid is surprised by his words. The next morning, the puppy wakes up, hungry. Meanwhile, the maid is cutting cabbage in the kitchen. The puppy suddenly approaches her from behind, scaring her. She points her knife towards the puppy, but then she realizes the puppy must be very hungry. She gives it food, hesitantly tries to pet it, but stops at the last moment. Hitoyoshi is happy that she at least feeds the puppy. He decides to name it Ajamochitaru, and both the maid and the puppy love the name. Hitoyoshi then notices that the maid has chopped the cabbage and praises her efforts. Meanwhile, Mochi eagerly wants to play with Hitoyoshi. Seeing this, the maid steps forward and offers to take care of Mochi. She wants to become a normal girl and sees this as a step toward change. She tells Hitoyoshi that she trusts him, and in return, Hitoyoshi reassures her. Gathering her courage, the maid starts playing with Mochi. Although she is still scared, she begins to feel a connection. After that, in the night, Hitoyoshi finishes making the dinner. The maid enjoys the food with her favorite katsuta sauce. She tries to refuse more food, but her body automatically moves her plate forward. Hitoyoshi understands and prepares more for her. He tells her that expressing her desires is normal and part of becoming a normal girl. The maid then asks Hitoyoshi to give her a name. Hitoyoshi agrees and asks when she was born. The maid does not remember the exact date, but knows that when she was born, it was a snowy day. Hitoyoshi suggests the name Yuki, which means snow. Hearing this, the maid remembers her old master, who once called her a cold-blooded killer. Hitoyoshi tells her that he loves snow because it is beautiful and fun. He says that ice is actually very hot. This surprises the maid, but she realizes something important. She now understands why she feels strange in the beginning, why her body moves on its own, why she feels happy, and why her heart beats so fast. She decides that if she stays with Hitoyoshi, she might find all the answers she is looking for. She happily accepts the name Yuki and thanks him. The next day, Hitoyoshi's sister arrives at his house. Yuki is playing with a dog when Hitoyoshi comes and asks for her help. Yuki looks confused, but Hitoyoshi explains that he wants to get his ears pierced. He says all his friends have done it, and he has wanted to do it too, but he does not have the courage to do it himself. That is why he needs Yuki's help. In the next moment, Yuki prepares to pierce his ear. However, she hesitates and says she cannot do it. She wonders if this is some kind of cruel ritual. She apologizes, saying she cannot bring herself to do it. Hitoyoshi feels awkward about the situation, but before he can say anything, the doorbell rings. At the door, we see Hitoyoshi's younger sister. She is excited to see the puppy, but when the maid opens the door, she gets surprised. Then, she enters the house and expresses her happiness at how clean it is. She also compliments the maid, saying she did not know such a beautiful maid works here. Suddenly, she starts hitting her brother, saying they always talked in chats, but he never told her. Hitoyoshi explains that he did not want their mother to know about it and worry. His sister then asks what he told their father, and Hitoyoshi says he only asked if he could hire a housekeeper. Yuki then asks if they live in separate houses. Hitoyoshi's sister confirms that they do. Hitoyoshi claims that this is why he did not tell her. He knew she would act like this. His sister gets angrier and starts hitting him again. After calming down, Hitoyoshi's sister introduces herself as Riko and asks for Yuki's name. Yuki introduces herself and explains that Hitoyoshi gave her the name because she originally did not have one. As Yuki mentions she lived as an assassin, Hitoyoshi tries to stop her, but she keeps going. Riko looks surprised, but quickly becomes excited. She asks Yuki for an autograph. Yuki does not know what an autograph is, so Riko explains that she just needs to write her name. Yuki writes it, but her handwriting surprises both Hitoyoshi and Riko as they find it unique. Suddenly, Riko gets an idea. As she has an assignment to write, she decides to write about Yuki. Hitoyoshi gets worried and warns Riko not to write anything strange in her assignment. Riko laughs, saying she will write about a killer maid. Riko and Yuki then go to the garden. Yuki places an apple on Riko's head and throws a knife, slicing the apple perfectly. Riko is amazed and quickly writes about it in her assignment. She then asks how many knives Yuki has. Yuki replies that she used to have 16, but now she only has 5. Riko asks where she keeps them, and Yuki explains that she has 2 in her sleeves and the rest on her legs. Hitoyoshi gets scared and tells her to stop. Later, while writing her assignment, Riko's stomach growls. Hitoyoshi laughs and says she must be hungry. Riko then asks Yuki to make a special dish. Yuki says she does not have a special dish but is good at cutting. She shows her cutting skills, and Riko writes about it in her assignment. Afterward, they all go out to eat. While eating, Riko mentions that today is the summer festival and suggests they all go. Hitoyoshi asks Yuki if she has ever been to a festival before, and tells her they will find her favorite katsuta sauce there. Yuki gets excited and agrees to go. At the festival, they explore different shops. They try a shooting game, but none of them win a prize. Yuki tries as well, but is not good at shooting. Then, they try a goldfish catching game, and Yuki successfully plays it, catching fish very quickly. The shopkeeper is amazed and tells Riko that she has a great older sister. Yuki likes hearing that. Next, they visit Yuki's favorite katsuta sauce shop. Yuki enjoys the sauce so much that she packs some to take home. However, while eating, food gets stuck in her throat. Riko quickly leaves to get a drink for her. As they sit there, Yuki reflects that she never knew festivals were like this. Hitoyoshi asks if she has never been to a festival before. Yuki explains that in the past, her only reason for attending festivals was to carry out missions and assassination. Hitoyoshi gets nervous, but before he can react, fireworks start going off. Riko returns with the drink, and they all watch the fireworks together. Seeing Yuki happy makes Hitoyoshi blush. On their way home, a speeding motorcycle approaches Hitoyoshi and others. The rider has stolen someone's purse and is escaping. The bike is coming at them fast, and Yuki quickly saves Riko. Hitoyoshi gets angry at the careless thief and asks if everyone is okay. Meanwhile, Yuki is focused on her sauce. Hitoyoshi then says that such bad people should receive severe punishment. Yuki takes his words seriously and enters her assassin mode. She starts running at high speed to catch the thief. Riko and Hitoyoshi are shocked and decide to follow her. Yuki leaps from building to building until she catches up to the thief. She takes out 2 knives and throws them at the bike's tires, causing the thief to crash. Hitoyoshi and Riko arrive just in time to see this and are shocked. Yuki walks toward the thief with her knife in hand. The thief panics, and Hitoyoshi shouts for Yuki not to kill him. Yuki then decides to let him go. A crowd gathers around them, and Yuki asks Hitoyoshi if she has become normal now. Hitoyoshi suggests they buy more sauce for her. The 3 of them leave, talking happily. As they walk, Riko mentions that her assignment is going to be the best. Riko asks Yuki if she has ever gone to school. Yuki looks confused and asks what a school is. Riko explains that school is a place where people study, make friends, and have fun. She then leaves, excited about her assignment. Yuki asks if school is really that good and says she also wants to go. Hitoyoshi tells her she should try going to school once to make friends and have fun. The next day, Summer vacation ends, and students return to school. Hitoyoshi sits in class, thinking about Yuki and wondering if she is okay alone. Suddenly, his friend mentions that an amazing new maid has appeared in the city. Hearing this, Hitoyoshi becomes nervous, thinking that Yuki is beautiful and talented, and everyone will notice her. Then, the teacher enters the classroom and announces that a new transfer student is joining them. The student steps in, and it is none other than Yuki. She greets everyone, and Hitoyoshi is so shocked. The teacher tells the class Yuki is Hitoyoshi's cousin. Yuki sits on the bench in front of Hitoyoshi. Yuki greets him, calling him Master. The whole class is surprised to hear this. After school, Riko comes to them and asks how their day is going. Hitoyoshi is still in shock and realizes that Riko is behind all this. Riko excitedly admits that her mission is successful. As they walk together, Riko tells Hitoyoshi that Yuki is amazing. She learns things quickly, and soon she will be taking care of her homework. Hitoyoshi asks Yuki why she is in his class and why she pretends to be his cousin. Yuki explains that it was all Riko's idea. Yuki also says that Riko wanted to give Hitoyoshi a surprise, so she didn't tell him earlier. Hitoyoshi gets upset and scolds Riko. Riko gets scared and asks if she did something wrong. Hitoyoshi calms down, saying that he is not angry, just surprised. He tells Yuki that since she is now in school, they will be together. Yuki is happy and looks forward to enjoying school life with Hitoyoshi. The next day, all the students run toward one place, shouting about bread. Yuki is confused and asks where they are going. Hitoyoshi explains that they are running to buy Katsuna bread, which comes only once a week. Only a few students get it, and it sells out within an hour. Hitoyoshi tells her how the bread tastes even better with sauce. Yuki becomes serious, asks where the shop is, then suddenly jumps out of the window. Hitoyoshi is shocked and tries to stop her, but she doesn't listen. Meanwhile, the other students are still running toward the shop. Hitoyoshi worries that Yuki might cause a big problem if she appears in front of everyone. Yuki shows up in front of all the students and calmly enters the shop to order the bread. Later, she apologizes to Hitoyoshi, saying she could only buy one piece because the shop allows only one per customer. Hitoyoshi tells her it's okay and lets her have the Katsuna bread while he eats a normal one. Yuki is happy and enjoys her bread. Seeing her happiness, Hitoyoshi forgets his anger. Yuki then breaks her bread in half and offers it to Hitoyoshi. He hesitates, but Yuki insists, and he eats it. When she asks how it tastes, Hitoyoshi admits it's very delicious. Later at night, Riko plays with Mochi. Hitoyoshi tells her that summer break is over, so she should go home. Riko replies that she is staying, and then shares a childhood dream. She always wanted an older sister to talk to about fashion and makeup. She wonders what it would be like if Hitoyoshi were her sister. Hitoyoshi gets annoyed and tells her to stop talking nonsense. Riko excitedly says that her dream will come true if Hitoyoshi marries Yuki. Hitoyoshi blushes and tells her to stop. Riko insists that Yuki likes him too. Hitoyoshi is embarrassed but remembers that Yuki fed him with her hands. Riko declares that this confirms Yuki's love, meaning Hitoyoshi will marry her. Hitoyoshi blushes even more and tells her to stop this nonsense. Suddenly, Yuki comes and asks who is getting married. Hitoyoshi gets nervous and Riko tells Yuki that she would be happy if she became her sister-in-law. She then directly asks Yuki if she likes Hitoyoshi. Yuki casually says that Hitoyoshi is a good person and that she likes him. Hitoyoshi's face turns completely red. Later, the three of them sit on the balcony. Riko asks Yuki if she wears makeup. Yuki says she only uses foundation. Yuki doesn't believe she is beautiful, saying her looks have never helped her in life. Riko agrees that being beautiful is difficult. She dreams of buying a lot of makeup when she grows up. Yuki compliments Riko, saying she already looks cute and beautiful without makeup. Riko is touched, saying that no one except her parents has ever praised her like that. Yuki shares her beauty secret. She believes her skin has improved because of a special sauce. Riko immediately eats some Katsuta sauce and agrees that it tastes great. Hitoyoshi looks at both of them and says they are both sisters already. But then, Riko asks him if he is thinking about marrying Yuki. Hitoyoshi turns red and Yuki asks about the concept of marriage. Riko says that in Japan, people over 18 can get married. Yuki finds it interesting. Hitoyoshi, still blushing, tells Riko to stop talking about marriage. Riko says that it looks like Hitoyoshi has agreed. Meanwhile, a cat is hiding in the bushes, watching them. The next day at school, Hitoyoshi thinks about how Riko stayed at his house for a whole month instead of just a week, making it hard for him to sleep. As he tries to take a nap in class, the teacher throws a chalk at him, but Yuki quickly reacts with her own knife, slicing it in half. However, instead of helping, the chalk piece hits Hitoyoshi's eye. Yuki panics and apologizes. Hitoyoshi washes his eyes and goes to the nurse's office. The regular school nurse is absent, and a new nurse named Nita is there. She asks Hitoyoshi about his problem, and Hitoyoshi explains about hitting the choke in both of his eyes. Nita tells him to lie on the bed. While checking his eyes, Nita asks about the beautiful girl with him. She wonders if Yuki is his friend or girlfriend. Hitoyoshi nervously says that Yuki is his cousin. Nita laughs and says that they don't look alike at all. Hitoyoshi finds her strange. Nita tells Hitoyoshi that he is very handsome and her type. He goes towards the door and locks it. Hitoyoshi becomes confused. Nita takes off her coat and says she needs to do more checkups. She approaches Hitoyoshi, making him very nervous. He asks Nita What is she doing? But she doesn't answer and moves closer. Just then, Yuki appears through the locked door. Hitoyoshi feels relieved. Nita says she was only joking and, as Hitoyoshi's school nurse, she can at least tease him. Hitoyoshi complains that it was a bad joke and tells her never to do it again. Nita replies that she thought he would understand. Yuki suddenly grabs Hitoyoshi and warns Nita to stay away from him. Hitoyoshi is embarrassed and starts thinking that Yuki might like him and is feeling jealous. Nita finally tells Hitoyoshi that he can come back if his eye hurts again. As Yuki takes Hitoyoshi outside, she apologizes for her earlier mistake, but says she needs to talk to him about something important. Hitoyoshi nervously thinks that Yuki might be about to confess her love, but instead, Yuki says that the nurse was also an assassin. She is also a cold-blooded assassin. Meanwhile, we see Nita is seen talking to the same cat that was spying on Hitoyoshi and others earlier. She mentions that she has come here to work but will finish her real task soon, to crush Yuki's self-made family. Nita talks about her lifelong dream of resting on an island surrounded by handsome men. To achieve this, she has worked hard, gathered intelligence, and even killed people. Now, she is just one step away from fulfilling her dream. She only needs to kill one more person to make it happen. Meanwhile, Hitoyoshi feels uneasy sleeping. Yuki keeps watching over him and decides to protect him from any danger. Yuki stays alert, knowing that Nita could attack at any moment. Hitoyoshi tries to convince her to look away, but Yuki refuses. While laying on the same bed, Hitoyoshi also expresses his concern for Yuki's safety. She reassures him that she is capable of handling any danger. Even if she falls asleep, she can defeat a small intruder with just one hand. She believes Nita will not attack directly. Hitoyoshi starts to wonder just how powerful Yuki really is. Yuki remains serious, knowing that her past is catching up to her. She is determined to protect Hitoyoshi, no matter what happens, because he is the one who showed her warmth. Hitoyoshi blushes and decides to open the window for fresh air, but Yuki stops him, warning that Nita could take advantage of it. When Yuki opens the window instead, she smells the katsuta sauce. Hitoyoshi assumes the neighbors are cooking, but Yuki notices that the smell of sauce is coming from the gate. Just as she realizes it is a trap, Nita appears and kidnaps Hitoyoshi. Nita mocks Yuki for falling into such a simple trick. She calls Yuki White Wolf and claims that the Dragon's 9 offspring will be disappointed in her. Yuki is shocked but quickly prepares to attack. However, Nita warns her to stay back, threatening to kill Hitoyoshi if she tries anything. Yuki becomes furious and speaks in a coded language, promising to make Nita suffer if she harms Hitoyoshi. Nita reminds Yuki that she cannot be killed directly. Instead, she gives Yuki an ultimatum: meet her at the school ground at 2 a.m. if she wants Hitoyoshi alive. With that, she takes Hitoyoshi and disappears. Yuki is left devastated. She recalls her master's words, reminding her that she was born to kill. No matter how much she tries to be normal, she will always be a murderer. Yuki begins to accept this harsh reality. She blames herself for putting Hitoyoshi in danger. She decides to kill Nita, leave Hitoyoshi somewhere safe, and disappear to another country. Then, she remembers the life she always wanted to live, so she decides she cannot leave. Meanwhile, Nita taunts Hitoyoshi, commenting on how calm he is in this situation. She asks him if he is angry at Yuki for putting him in danger. Hitoyoshi admits that he is scared, but remains confident that Yuki will come to save him. Nita then reveals that she has no real interest in him. Her true target is Yuki. Hitoyoshi is confused and asks why she keeps calling Yuki Shue. Nita reveals that Yuki is not just a simple maid. She is one of the deadliest assassins in the world. She is the 4th White Wolf of the Dragon's 9 offspring, an elite organization of the most dangerous killers. Hitoyoshi is shocked. Nita admits that even she was deceived at first, but after observing Yuki for days, she confirmed her true identity. She also notices that Hitoyoshi himself is not normal. A regular person would be terrified in his situation, yet he is calmly talking to his captor. She suspects that there is something special about him that melted Yuki's cold heart. Hitoyoshi, on the other hand, thinks that Yuki's kindness and attachment to him could be a weakness. Finally, Yuki arrives, launching an attack. Nita immediately fires her gun, but Yuki skillfully cuts the bullets in midair using her knife. Nita is stunned and thinking quickly. She shoots at the ground, causing a huge blast. Smoke fills the air, and Nita assumes Yuki is dead. However, Yuki emerges from the smoke and attacks Nita. Nita barely manages to block her strikes. Hitoyoshi cries out in concern, but Yuki reassures him that she is fine. She then turns to Nita, stating that she must end this quickly because Hitoyoshi has school in the morning and needs rest. Nita becomes furious and demands Yuki to take her seriously. In response, she activates her attack, aiming all her guns at Hitoyoshi. Yuki instantly moves forward. Nita mocks her, believing that she will fail to protect Hitoyoshi. She presses a button to start the fires towards Hitoyoshi. Just before the bullets hit Hitoyoshi, Yuki throws 4 knives, destroying each bullet. Nida is left in shock, unable to understand how Yuki did it. She panics and reaches for another weapon, but Yuki strikes first, destroying Nida's remote control. Then, she declares Nida's defeat. Nida refuses to give up, grabs her gun and attempts to shoot Hitoyoshi, but Yuki kicks it away and throws her to the ground. Nida is terrified and asks if Yuki will kill her. She warns Yuki that as long as she is alive, more assassins will come after her. Yuki acknowledges this but states that she has changed. She refuses to let anyone die because of her. Hitoyoshi struggles to process everything he has just seen. Yuki quickly frees him, and they prepare to leave. Meanwhile, Nida laughs, realizing that Yuki has truly changed. She is no longer the brutal assassin she once was. As Yuki and Hitoyoshi walk home, Hitoyoshi expresses his faith in her. However, Yuki suddenly stops and apologizes, believing she has dragged him into her dangerous world. She decides that she will disappear before morning. Hitoyoshi, instead of letting her go, holds her hand and asks her to teach him self-defense. He wants to become strong so that he can protect her too. Yuki is surprised but happy. She agrees, and the two walk home together, laughing. The next day in school, Yuki plays volleyball, impressing everyone with her athletic skill. The girls praise her, while the boys sitting on the side admire her beauty. Hitoyoshi listens and thinks that they don't know the real Yuki. The boys also talk about how they don't understand how she is related to Hitoyoshi. Hitoyoshi thinks they have a point. He remembers how Yuki saved him last night, and he still can't believe she was part of the Dragon of Spring organization. Meanwhile, Yuki is surrounded by girls praising her, and her eyes shift toward Hitoyoshi. She laughs at him, making all the boys jealous. They look at Hitoyoshi angrily. Suddenly, a volleyball flies toward Hitoyoshi at high speed, but Nida appears just in time, catches the ball, and saves him. She tells Hitoyoshi that it would have been a big problem if he had gotten hurt. She sits next to Hitoyoshi, and he asks what she wants. Nida teases him, saying he should treat a new teacher with kindness. Hitoyoshi is uncomfortable with how close she is. A flashback shows how he and Yuki first met Nida when she called them behind the school for a negotiation. Hitoyoshi doesn't recognize her at first, so she reminds him about the last night. She reveals that she is now the new gym teacher, now known as Grace. She has also told everyone that she is Hitoyoshi's cousin who recently moved from Tokyo. Hitoyoshi is shocked at her transformation. Grace asks if Hitoyoshi prefers girls with long black hair. Hitoyoshi feels flustered. She laughs, noticing his reaction. Yuki is suspicious and assumes Grace will demand something in return. However, Grace offers a deal. She will not attack them for 3 months and will continuously provide Yuki's favorite Katsuna bread. Yuki, excited by the offer, immediately accepts. Hitoyoshi questions her trust in Grace, but Yuki reassures him that assassins like them do not kill without reason. Yuki also promises to protect him if necessary. Watching saliva dripping from Yuki's mouth, Hitoyoshi tells her to wipe it away. Grace is amused and promises to keep an eye on them silently. Back to the present, Hitoyoshi reminds her that she said she would just observe silently. Grace insists that she is quietly watching while whispering in his ear. She intentionally gets closer to make Yuki jealous, and it works. Yuki becomes furious and hits the volleyball with such force that it tears through the net and slams into the wall. Grace, delighted by her reaction, watches as the girls praise Yuki's strength. Later, Yuki apologizes to Hitoyoshi for messing up again. Hitoyoshi reassures her that it's not her fault. Yuki confesses that seeing him close to Grace made her feel lonely. She wonders if this feeling is normal. Hitoyoshi blushes, realizing Grace's presence affects Yuki. He tells her it is completely normal, making Yuki smile happily. After the vacation, Yuki takes on household chores. She finally succeeds in washing a towel properly after struggling for a month. Hitoyoshi is proud and encourages her. Later, when they sit together, Hitoyoshi asks what she plans for dinner, as they only have cabbage. Yuki suggests chopping it finely and adding katsura sauce for flavor. Then, they both go out to buy pork, but it is still being fried, so they have to wait. Yuki becomes excited seeing katsura sauce on display. She asks if such feelings are normal, and Hitoyoshi assures her that they are. Inside, Yuki notices an old man cutting pork with shaky hands but impressive speed. She suspects he might be a skilled assassin. Meanwhile, an old woman, the maker of katsuna bread, becomes happy upon learning Yuki loves it. Yuki shares her experience with the katsura sauce. The old man suddenly approaches Yuki and leaves. Yuki is shocked, realizing she didn't even sense his approach, confirming her suspicion that the old man is a professional assassin. Later, after dinner, Yuki offers to wash the dishes while Hitoyoshi rests. As he lies down, he thinks about Yuki and how she doesn't seem dangerous despite her past. He searches for the Dragon 9 Offspring organization online but finds no useful information. He debates whether to ask Yuki about it but decides against it, assuming she doesn't want to talk about her past. Falling asleep on the sofa, Hitoyoshi dreams about his mother, who apologized and left him when he was young. In his sleepy state, he accidentally bumps into Yuki's chest, making him flustered and move away. Yuki asks if he was dreaming about his mother again. She then offers to let him sleep with his head on her lap, but Hitoyoshi, embarrassed, refuses. His phone falls, and Yuki notices he was searching for the Dragon of Spring. She admits she doesn't know much about the organization either. She was taken in by her master as a child and only followed orders. Yuki explains that she worked only to survive, fearing abandonment. Now she lives like a normal person but sometimes wonders if it's all a dream. Hitoyoshi expresses his happiness that Yuki stayed. He thanks her and Yuki feels touched. She tells Hitoyoshi how she enjoys it when Hitoyoshi sleeps on her lap because it reminds her of the first time he did so after a bad dream. Hitoyoshi, embarrassed, insists it wasn't a bad dream. He reveals that after his mother left, Yuki was the one who comforted him. The next day, Yuki wakes up and gets dressed for work. She prepares breakfast, washes towels carefully, and cleans the utensils. Later, she plays with Mochi. In the evening, she goes to the market to buy vegetables for dinner. People around her notice her beauty and different appearance. While shopping, a girl, named Naka, approaches Yuki and tells her that she often sees her in the market and finds her very beautiful. Naka wishes to look like her and asks where she bought her outfit as ordinary people do not wear such clothes, and she wants to dress the same way. Yuki feels shocked. Suddenly, Hitoyoshi appears and greets her. He says it is a big coincidence that Yuki came here. Yuki looks sad and asks if the maid outfit is not something an ordinary person wears. After that, Hitoyoshi decides to buy normal clothes for Yuki. Riko comes because Hitoyoshi messaged her. Grace also arrives and Hitoyoshi wonders what she is doing here. Grace reveals she was keeping an eye on them and he knew they would come today, so she also came. She jokes that since Hitoyoshi is a boy, he cannot properly choose outfits for a girl. Riko asks Grace who she is, or if she is also an assassin. While they talk, Hitoyoshi and Yuki walk away to buy clothes. Riko suggests going to a new clothing store first. They reach the store and Yuki tries on a dress. Hitoyoshi believes that the dress is too eye-catching. Riko likes it and starts taking pictures of Yuki, saying she looks beautiful. Yuki worries that the dress is too heavy and difficult to walk in. Grace then selects an outfit for Yuki. When Yuki wears it, Hitoyoshi finds it too revealing. Yuki wonders how she will hide her knife in it. Hitoyoshi reminds her that carrying a knife in public is illegal. Grace and Riko, busy choosing outfits for themselves, do not pay attention. Hitoyoshi gets irritated and tells them not to waste time. They all move to another clothing store, where Yuki tries on different outfits. Grace asks Hitoyoshi which outfit he likes most. Hitoyoshi replies that Yuki looks best in a one-piece dress. Grace teases him, saying she now understands his taste in clothing. After shopping, they walk home and see Halloween costumes. Riko gets excited, and they all decide to buy the Halloween costume. Yuki selects a witch's outfit, while Grace chooses a police costume. Suddenly, Hitoyoshi notices that a new zombie movie is playing. They decide to watch it. Yuki has never watched a movie before and is unfamiliar with the experience. She mentions that she has been to cinema before, but only for assassination missions. After that, they all sit together and watch the zombie movie. Yuki gets scared seeing the zombies. Grace finds it odd that an assassin warrior like Yuki is afraid of zombies. Hitoyoshi wonders if Yuki has past trauma, making her fear small things like this. After that, they buy food and head home, laughing and having fun. Meanwhile, Naka watches them from a distance. She looks sad. A strange man named Take approaches her and scolds her for being careless. Naka apologizes and he tells her that she will have lower body training today. Naka agrees but continues looking sad as she watches Yuki and her friends leaving. Grace goes home and Hitoyoshi offers to drop Riko at her place. Yuki plans to go home and prepare dinner. After Riko and Hitoyoshi leave, Yuki becomes emotional. She looks at her maid outfit and remembers that it brought her to where she is today. She realizes how important it is to her. At home, she stares at the maid outfit before going to cook dinner. Meanwhile, Mochi wants to play with her. She notices that Mochi's towel is torn and dirty. She offers to wash it, but Mochi grabs the towel and runs away. Outside, the weather gets scary and a storm approaches. Hitoyoshi wonders if Yuki will be fine alone. Lightning flashes and the power goes out. Yuki becomes scared and imagines a zombie in the house. Mochi, still running with the towel, accidentally bumps into something. The food dish falls on him and he yells. Hearing this, Yuki panics, thinking a zombie has caught Mochi. Mochi comes out completely dirty. Seeing Mochi in that state frightens her even more. Hitoyoshi returns home and Yuki apologizes for tearing his towel out of fear. Hitoyoshi tells her it is okay. Yuki offers to sew it back together, but Hitoyoshi doubts she can fix it since it is too damaged. Hitoyoshi asks why she is wearing her maid outfit again. He wonders if she did not like the new clothes they bought. Yuki explains that the maid outfit was a gift from her master. It is precious to her because it connects her to her past and allows her to live a normal life now. She says the outfit is not ordinary for her. She asks if it is strange to think this way. Hitoyoshi assures her it is not. Yuki mentions that as an assassin warrior, she is afraid of zombies, which is weird. Hitoyoshi reassures her, saying it is fine. He tells her that she can wear whatever she wants and be afraid of whatever she wants. That is the true meaning of being an ordinary person. Yuki feels happy hearing this. Mochi also jumps with joy. Hitoyoshi notices something about the torn towel. He realizes it belonged to its original owner. and Mochi's previous owner likely left it behind. Yuki feels emotional and tells Hitoyoshi that she wants to repair the towel before dinner. She understands how it feels to be connected to something precious. Yuki looks at the bell on her head and says it connects her to her sister, who is far away now. Hitoyoshi is shocked and asks if she has a sister. Later, Hitoyoshi asks Grace about Yuki's younger sister, but Grace refuses, saying she doesn't know anything. Hitoyoshi complains that he has already brought her ramen. Grace mentions that they only have the clue of a bell and named Hua. After eating a bowl of ramen, she will surely help. Hitoyoshi gets frustrated. Grace ignores him and eats quickly, enjoying the meal. Meanwhile, Yuki eats ramen with her favorite katsuta sauce. Grace gets angry because she believes no one should mix sauce with ramen. Yuki, however, doesn't care and casually mentions that her katsuta sauce is almost finished. On their way home, they stop to buy the sauce, but the shop owner informs them that it will only be available next week. Hitoyoshi notices Yuki's disappointment and thinks about making her happy. He asks what Yuki would do if she found her younger sister again. But Yuki struggles to remember her sister's face. She only recalls a bell around her neck, hoping it would help her sister recognize her. But for 10 years, nothing has happened. She fears her sister might be angry with her. Suddenly, Hitoyoshi's friends, Taika and Kobachi, appear. They are excited about the limited edition CD of their favorite singer, Nazca, who will perform at the upcoming Katsuta Festival. Kobachi teases Hitoyoshi about spending time with Yuki. They recall how Hitoyoshi acted strangely in junior high school, calling himself Rage Knife and behaving strangely. Yuki doesn't understand their jokes, but Taika continues talking until Hitoyoshi tells him to stop. In the chaos, Taika drops the CD, and it almost falls into a drain. Yuki quickly saves it, but her juice bottle falls instead, spilling all the liquid. She looks shocked, as if her world is breaking down. That night, Yuki has a nightmare where a voice tells her it is angry with her. She wakes up in fear. Hitoyoshi comes to check on her. Yuki tells him about her dream. Hitoyoshi reassures her that she can buy more katsuta sauce next week. However, the nightmares continue, night after night. Feeling scared, Yuki asks Hitoyoshi if she can sleep in his room. Hitoyoshi agrees, as since he has an exam, he offers to talk with her until she falls asleep. Yuki asks if Hitoyoshi dislikes anyone, and Hitoyoshi says he doesn't really hate anyone, but keeps his distance from his father. This reminds Yuki of her younger sister, who once said she hated her. She becomes upset and suddenly leaves. In another nightmare, Yuki sees a bottle telling her that she is the reason no one likes her. Yuki denies it, insisting she is trying to be normal. The bottle accuses her of causing trouble for Hitoyoshi and others. A flashback shows Yuki's childhood, where she was smart and loved by her parents. She was invited to many shows, and her parents supported her completely. However, on her birthday, a stranger came to their house. Sensing danger, Yuki tried to stop her parents from opening the door, but they didn't listen. The stranger killed her parents. The incident turned Yuki into a dangerous fighter. She loved her younger sister, but her younger sister saw her as a monster and rejected her. This broke Yuki completely, and she focused only on survival, becoming the most feared assassin. Hitoyoshi wakes Yuki from her nightmare. Yuki is terrified and hugs him tightly. She apologizes for being a burden, but asks to stay like this for a while. Hitoyoshi, feeling shy, comforts her. The next day at school, Yuki asks about the Katsuta Festival. Taika explains that it includes sports, cultural events, and competitions. The winning class gets a special katsuta sauce. The first-year students rarely win because the student council dominates the festival. Kobachi mentions that academic grades also affect rankings. Yuki happily says she passed, but when she checks her actual grade, it is only 42. She panics, but Hitoyoshi tries to calm her down. Taika reminds her that the practical exam can help improve her score. Yuki gets overly excited and declares that she will do it. During lunch, Grace surprises Yuki by giving her katsuna bread. Yuki thanks her, which makes Grace suspicious. She checks the physical education records. Hitoyoshi and Yuki realize they haven't registered for the practical exam. Grace says they can still enter, but only if they agree to do whatever she asks. She promises not to ask them to kill anyone, but bans Yuki from adding katsuta sauce to ramen. Suddenly, a strong wind blows, and to Grace's surprise, Yuki's name is already on the list. She angrily insists this is impossible, but Hitoyoshi calmly says she must have overlooked it. Grace becomes furious and leaves. Hitoyoshi asks Yuki how she managed this, but Yuki is also confused. They notice Naka nearby, saying she helped Yuki. Yuki thanks her and Naka blushes. She reveals she will win the cultural festival. We see Naka practicing martial arts. While practicing, one of the men almost attacks her. At the last moment, her brother Take saves her. She realizes that mastering the 300-year-old martial art of Hikage Ryu requires a lot of self-discipline. She feels a little sad and promises to try her best. Take leaves, and Naka thinks she has disappointed her brother again. Meanwhile, Take feels relieved that nothing happened to Naka. He is happy he arrived in time to save her. The Katsuta Festival begins. In the student council office, It is decided that one person will be the police while all others will be robbers. Take feels tense because Naka is in the same class as Yuki. He believes Yuki will be the biggest challenge in the competition. He suspects that an enemy seeking revenge on the Hikage-ryu family might be present. He decides to personally keep an eye on Yuki during patrolling. Naka tells Hitoyoshi that she feels her brother doesn't like her much. She believes Take only focuses on her results because she is weak and much younger than him. She wants to win the competition to prove herself worthy in his eyes. Just by looking at Yuki, she struggles to speak in front of him. Suddenly, Taiga arrives in a Katsuta sauce costume, scaring Yuki. Later, since Naka needs to be strong to win, she joins a team with Taiga and Yuki for the competition. They ask if she is physically strong. Naka explains that she avoids gym class because she doesn't like being around many people. She admits she is not as strong as her brother, but is very fast at running. Yuki assures her that they will all win the competition together. Meanwhile, Take is at a cafe where a girl is showing him the menu. He feels angry because he believes everyone, including Yuki, is trying to create a rift between him and Naka. Meanwhile, Hitoyoshi asks if Taiga is really competing as a Katsuta man. Taiga excitedly declares that he will become #1 on TV and a local mascot. Hitoyoshi realizes that Yuki will be recorded. If that happens, it could cause problems. Riko and Kobachi join in, and Riko tells them they cannot sit idle. Hitoyoshi explains that they are resting after finishing their cafe duties. Since Yuki is participating in the competition, they cannot help. Taiga says that Ruki will have to manage alone, leading everyone to tease Kobachi. Naka observes how close they all are. She admits that she has no friends and asks Yuki to be her friend. Yuki agrees, making Naka very happy. Hitoyoshi invites Naka to explore the cultural festival, but Naka suddenly runs away, saying she has work to do. Hitoyoshi notices her excitement and asks Yuki what happened between them. Yuki wonders what it truly means to be friends. Later, Naka happily runs and secretly listens to the executive committee discussing competition rules. Soon, the competition begins. Nasuka, a famous singer, also appears as a guest. The crowd cheers upon seeing her. The announcer explains the simple rules. Take must catch all the robbers and put them in jail to win. However, if even one robber escapes, he loses. Robbers in jail can be freed if an outside robber touches them. Contestants must wear the costumes they had on during the school store event. Yuki wears a costume that Hitoyoshi made to hide his face from TV cameras. The time limit to finish the match within 15 minutes. Take watches Naka in her costume and finds her cute. He later discovers she is hiding behind Yuki and believes Yuki is influencing her. The match begins and Take runs at full speed, catching boys and throwing them in the air. Hitoyoshi and Riko are shocked, calling him a human bulldozer. Only 3 robbers remain. Taiga, cheered by Nasuka, runs toward Take, who easily throws him into jail with one hand. Take warns Yuki that she will be punished for turning his sister against him. He tries to throw Yuki but fails. Yuki grabs onto Take tightly, making it impossible for him to throw her. Meanwhile, Naka throws a smoke bomb, causing confusion. When the smoke clears, Take realizes he has grabbed Naka instead of Yuki. Seeing this, Yuki is surprised and recalls Hitoyoshi explaining friendship, that true friends stand by each other in difficult times. The announcer states that only 5 minutes have passed, and only one robber remains. Yuki attacks Take, and the two start fighting. Take is shocked that he cannot move Yuki. He accuses Yuki of knowing nothing about Naka's pain and suffering. As Take prepares to throw Yuki, Yuki overpowers him and throws him to the ground. Take's friends are surprised by Yuki's strength. Yuki rushes to touch Naka, but Tasu sees this and chases him. The announcer says that only 20 seconds remain. Yuki reaches towards Naka and finally understands what friendship means. She realizes that he wants to be a true friend to Naka. However, just as she expresses this, Take captures him, ending the match. The announcer reveals that Take wins. Due to Yuki's impressive performance, the media approaches her for an interview. Yuki panics because showing her face on TV could cause problems. Naka remembers Yuki's concerns and wonders how to help her. She quickly creates smoke again. When the smoke clears, Take is holding Taiga instead of Yuki. Naka hides Yuki inside the Katsuta sauce costume, and the 3 of them escape. Later that evening, Naka apologizes, thinking they lost because of her. Yuki assures her it was her fault for trying to protect her. She only wanted Naka to like her, and Naka feels happy. Tasu arrives, telling Naka they should go home. In his mind, he believes Yuki is a bad influence on his sister. He warns Yuki not to deceive anyone again. As they leave, Yuki promises they will meet at school again. At night, Yuki sits on the school rooftop, deep in thought. Hitoyoshi joins him and asks if she is sad about the competition. Yuki says he is not disappointed, but feels strange. Hitoyoshi understands that Yuki had fun at the festival, even if she misunderstood the rules. Yuki realizes he has never thought about the future but now sees many possibilities. Naka shows some of her skills and feels shy while revealing one of her techniques for the first time to someone outside her family. Hideyoshi finds ninjas cool, but Naka says her brother is even better. She admits she does not have much talent and sometimes wishes to live a normal life without powers. Yuki relates to her and they start to connect. Hideyoshi is happy that their friendship is growing. Meanwhile, Grace suddenly appears behind Hideyoshi and teases him about whom he will choose. Hideyoshi blushes and denies everything. Grace playfully bothers Hideyoshi, but a mistake happens. One of Yuki's knives passes too close to Grace, scaring both Hideyoshi and Grace. Grace gets angry and reminds her that she is investigating her sister. Yuki apologizes, explaining that the direction of the knife changed unexpectedly. Naka realizes Grace is not an ordinary person and is also an assassin, like the Yuki. Grace surprises Naka by revealing that she is the youngest daughter of Hikage Ryu family. Naka is shocked and asks how she knows this. Grace also reveals that she wrote Naka's name on an exam paper. The conversation shifts when Hideyoshi asks Grace why she has come. Grace explains that she went to China to her old base in search of Yuki's sister and met some of Yuki's old friends. However, the organization was too dangerous to join. Yuki says he does not remember anyone from there except his master. Before leaving, Grace apologizes, saying she cannot celebrate Christmas with them this time. She suggests that Hitoyoshi should celebrate Christmas with Yuki. Upon hearing this, Hitoyoshi blushes, while Yuki remains confused. Hitoyoshi gets embarrassed and asks Grace to stop talking nonsense. Naka then asks if Hitoyoshi and Yuki are dating. Hitoyoshi blushes and denies it. Naka feels relieved and apologizes for assuming they were a perfect couple. Hitoyoshi insists that it is not true. Meanwhile, Yuki stands quietly, listening to everyone, and reflects on her past. She realizes she never received care from anyone before, but now she has people she can protect, which makes her happy. Suddenly, snow begins to fall and they all become excited. Hitoyoshi receives a message from his father, saying he will return to his country for the new year. The next morning, Hitoyoshi and others step outside to see the entire place covered in white snow. They feel excited, and Hitoyoshi makes a small snowman. Yuki follows and tries to make one too. Both of them laugh and enjoy the moment. However, Hideyoshi suddenly gets a call, and after talking, he looks sad. Yuki notices and hugs him. Hideyoshi then asks Yuki to take care of the house while he is away, and Yuki agrees. Later, Hideyoshi is on his way home after meeting Riko. He wonders why Yuki asked to meet him and guesses she might want to eat outside. On the way, Hideyoshi sees Yuki, who looks beautiful and is waiting for him. He asks her why she is dressed like that. Without saying anything, Yuki wraps her scarf around Hideyoshi and tells him she knew he would feel cold. She then holds his hand and says they should go on a date. Hideyoshi is shocked and asks why. Yuki explains that Riko suggested she take him on a date because he seems sad in the morning. She wants to make him happy. Hideyoshi blushes, but agrees to go. As they walk, holding hands, snow starts falling again by the neon lights and their beauty. Yuki smiles, happy to see him in a good mood. Meanwhile, Hideyoshi turns red, realizing how beautiful Yuki looks. A flashback shows that 2 hours earlier, Riko was on the phone with Yuki, giving outfit ideas for the date. Yuki asks if her master will be happy with her outfit, and Riko reassures her. Back in the present, Riko is at Hitayoshi's house, asking about his date. Hitoyoshi is still blushing. He asks Riko if she thinks Yuki has feelings for him. Riko believes Yuki has romantic feelings, but has not realized them yet. Hitoyoshi wonders if love could exist between them. Riko suggests a love test to measure his feelings. She asks Hitoyoshi several questions about Yuki, and he answers yes to all of them. When she asks if Yuki has told him she likes him, Hitoyoshi hesitates and lies, saying no. After calculating, Riko announces that his love score is 96%. Then Yuki arrives from shopping. Hitoyoshi casually asks if she bought the right vegetables this time, and Yuki confidently replies that she did not mix anything up. Hitoyoshi feels relieved that their interaction remains normal. Riko then asks Yuki to take the love test as well. Yuki answers yes to all the questions. However, while listening, Hitoyoshi blushes and secretly hopes Riko will stop asking. Finally, when Riko asks if Hitoyoshi has told Yuki that he likes her, Yuki surprisingly answers yes. Riko calculates and announces Yuki's love score is 100%. That night, they all sit together for dinner. Riko tells Yuki to sit comfortably. While talking, Riko tells Yuki how Hitoyoshi used to upset their father. Hitoyoshi gets irritated and asks her to be quiet. He silently hopes Yuki never finds out about his childish side. Riko bluntly states that Hitoyoshi wants to show his cool side in front of Yuki and wants to impress her. Hitoyoshi is embarrassed and denies it. Hitoyoshi plans to punish Riko and tries to kick her under the blanket, but nothing happens. Confused, he looks under the blanket and realizes all the kicks landed on Yuki instead. Yuki, visibly hurt, remains silent. Hitoyoshi is shocked while Yuki blushes. Riko notices their expressions and teases them further. Hitoyoshi remembers the previous day when he told Yuki that when a snow later, Yuki and they greet each other. As Hitoyoshi leaves the room, he blushes a lot and remembers that he asked Yuki to sleep with him, but it made him feel nervous. But Hitoyoshi quickly changes the subject. He says he wants to start cleaning the house for the new year. Yuki is surprised to see Hitoyoshi's acting so strangely. After that, Hitoyoshi thinks that even if he confesses his feelings to Yuki, nothing will change. Yuki, on the other hand, is very excited to clean the house. Cleaning, she suddenly gets scared when she notices something in the place. Yuki apologizes repeatedly, but Hitoyoshi turns completely red with embarrassment. He quickly says he is going to prepare a bath for her and runs away. Yuki gets confused by his reaction. Meanwhile, Hitoyoshi thinks that Yuki hasn't changed at all. She is seeing her cry. Hitoyoshi feels guilty. Yuki wonders why tears are coming from her eyes even though she doesn't feel hot or in pain. Hitoyoshi apologizes and says she hasn't done anything to upset her. He starts blaming himself for making her cry. He then tells Yuki to take a bath because she is wet. After Yuki leaves, he questions why he even said that and wonders what is going on in his mind. Yuki starts making many small mistakes and keeps getting sad. One day, she forgets to buy radish from the market and she starts crying again. Hitoyoshi tries. Later, Yuki sees her, realizes that he can't bear to see her cry anymore, her fault, and asks her to stop crying. That night, Hitoyoshi decides that if he wants to stop Yuki from crying, he should let her sleep next to him. Yuki also comes to his room with a pillow, and they sleep together. But Hitoyoshi's heart keeps beating too fast and he can't sleep. Yuki notices his nervousness. The next finds him busy with something. She notices a letter written by Hitoyoshi saying he will return soon. After that, Yuki goes out to buy dinner, but since it is the last day of the year, the grocery store is closed. She goes to the mall and buys roasted meat. When she returns home, Hitoyoshi tells her he has already prepared her favorite okonomiyaki and some roasted meat. Yuki starts crying again because she also bought the same food. That night, they have dinner together. Yuki says the food is delicious, but she is still crying. Hitoyoshi realizes that he needs to do something to stop her from crying so much. Later, he thinks about how his father will be returning the next day and falls asleep. After some time, Yuki puts a blanket over him. The next morning, Riko visits Hitoyoshi and Yuki and wishes them a happy new year. She invites them to go out together, but Yuki hesitates because Hitoyoshi is still sleeping. Riko becomes shocked after reading it. She starts crying again, so Naka takes her to sit somewhere and talk. Yuki tells Naka that her fortune slip says that her lost things will always remain lost. She worries that this means she and Hitoyoshi will be separated. Naka reassures her that it won't happen. She fears that if he doesn't need her anymore, she won't be able to live with him. Just thinking about it makes her cry again. Naka tells Yuki that she has also experienced moments where she cried without knowing why. She shares that she felt, but he doesn't answer. His father arrives at the airport. Yuki tells Naka that today is Hitoyoshi's birthday. Naka feels happy and wonders about the perfect gift. Yuki struggles to decide and thinks about what Hitoyoshi likes. She then remembers that Hitoyoshi owns many character models, and among them, he likes one toy the most. They decide to go to the mall to find it. At the mall, Yuki tells Naka that she saw many hero figures on Hitoyoshi's shelf and assumes he loves them. Naka agrees, but asks which one is his favorite. Yuki finds the one she saw in Hitoyoshi's room, but the toy is inside a capsule game. Naka warns her that playing the game might cost a lot of money. Yuki starts playing and collects many capsules, but none contain the desired toy. She becomes emotional, feeling unworthy of giving Hitoyoshi a gift. A man passing by notices Yuki's distress and offers to teach her a spell to get what she desires. He turns out to be Hitoyoshi's father. He tells Yuki to control her emotions, focus on her goal, and believe in getting what she wants. Yuki, now motivated, pulls the lever and finally wins the capsule containing the toy. She becomes overjoyed, while Naka feels surprised by her success. Before leaving, Yuki and Naka thank Hitoyoshi's father, who tells them about saying similar words to his son. Meanwhile, at Hitoyoshi's house, Riko wakes him up for breakfast. Hitoyoshi wonders about the shrine visit, but Riko tells him not to worry as their father will arrive soon. Hitoyoshi feels nervous, realizing he never told Yuki about his father. Riko questions why he never mentioned it, considering they live together. Hitoyoshi explains that just because people are close, it doesn't mean they can talk about everything. He recalls his past fears of asking his mother why she left, or questioning his father's decisions. As a child, he felt that his parents' issues were his fault. He worries about how his father will react upon meeting Yuki. Naka messages Hitoyoshi, saying they had fun and shine, but Yuki seems sad after their meeting. She advises him to cheer Yuki up. Later, Yuki returns home. Riko notices her swollen eyes and asks if something happened. Yuki denies it and changes clothes. Hitoyoshi hesitates before telling Yuki that his father is coming soon but does not mention her past as an assassin. Yuki reacts casually, making Hitoyoshi wonder why he is so anxious. Riko reassures him that no matter what their father says, he will protect Yuki. Hitoyoshi blushes, surprised by his own resolve. Their father arrives, and Riko happily hugs him, commenting on his beard. Hitoyoshi immediately brings up Yuki, referring to her as their maid. Their father recognizes Yuki and recalls meeting her before, calling her a Miss Shui. As they sit together, Yuki thanks him for earlier. He brushes it off, but starts addressing her formally. Riko feels surprised that they already know each other. Hitoyoshi's father asks Yuki about her work history, and she says she started 3 years ago. He recalls hearing about her from her master, Mr. Hamuro. Riko and their father praise Yuki's beauty. Hitoyoshi watches their friendly conversation and feels like an outsider. His father suddenly mentions that he met someone who told him to take care of a special girl. Hitoyoshi realizes his father has always been this way. Their father jokingly avoids serious topics. He realizes he always keeps things to himself and waits for others to tell him. Meanwhile, Hitoyoshi's father tells Riko to go home early, as he needs to meet their mother. Riko reminds her father that today is Hitoyoshi's birthday. Their father already knows but explains that Hitoyoshi doesn't like celebrating. Before leaving, he gives Hitoyoshi a birthday gift from both parents, apologizing for not staying longer. Hitoyoshi internally struggles, feeling like he missed another chance to express his thoughts. As they prepare to leave, Hitoyoshi gathers courage and asks if Yuki can stay with him. His father laughs, saying that Hitoyoshi is now 16 and can make his own decisions. He promises to explain everything to their mother. Yuki blushes, feeling happy about Hitoyoshi's words. Later, Hitoyoshi receives a call from his father, who asks to speak with Yuki privately. He apologizes for not asking earlier and questions if she is truly satisfied with her current situation. Yuki assures him that Hitoyoshi takes great care of her. He then asks if she believes Hitoyoshi has genuinely changed or if she is the reason for his change. After thanking her, he ends the call. Yuki then invites Hitoyoshi to watch the night view together. Hitoyoshi feels surprised by the sudden suggestion, but agrees. Yuki happily takes his hand, making him feel shy. They go to the rooftop, where Yuki admires the scenery. As night falls, Yuki wishes Hitoyoshi a happy birthday and gives him the toy she won. However, they notice that the toy is broken. Yuki becomes emotional, feeling upset, but Hitoyoshi gladly accepts it and thanks her. She shares a childhood memory of how he admired his father and wanted to win his approval. After his mother left, he felt neglected by his father. He fears that Yuki might also feel abandoned, so he promises to be her family, someone she can share everything with. He asks if Yuki is ready for that. Yuki, touched by his words, recalls her own family memories. Hitoshi, worried, asks if he said something wrong. Yuki reassures him, saying she cries even when she is happy. She agrees to be his family but doubts if it is possible. Hitoyoshi confidently tells her that it is, because he loves her. Yuki, blushing, confesses her love for him too. Hitoyoshi, overwhelmed with emotion, starts crying. Later, he sits in his room, promising himself that he will always keep Yuki happy. Meanwhile, Yuki, cutting vegetables in the kitchen, thinks about Hitoyoshi and blushes.